Story time of how my Tinder date love bombed me and then accused me of having herpes. And no, this is not clickbait, although I literally wish it was because I would do anything for this to not be my life, but here we are. Okay, if you are like my mom or my sisters or literally anyone I know for that matter, just go ahead and keep scrolling. This girl and I, we matched on Tinder and we like hit it off almost immediately. Like I just feel like we clicked really, really fast, which if you're on the dating apps or anything like that, that usually doesn't happen. Like you usually don't see many normal people on there. So when you finally see someone that's like normal and not totally weird or wanting something really weird, if you know, you know, you like gravitate towards them, which is kind of what happened. So she was like really fun to talk to and everything. We didn't talk very long and she was like, okay, gonna go to bed, like night, whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll message you tomorrow. I messaged her the next day and she replied in the afternoon and was just like, hey, just so you know, I'm not on my phone, like literally at all during the day. And I know, like, if you're gay, if you're a girl, or I don't know, anyone for that matter, you know that that's probably a really big red flag. Me, I was like, I was just like, okay, she's not on her phone until 8, 9 o'clock at night. That's normal. So we would only talk in the evening times. And we would talk for a few hours each evening. And she was so funny and so sweet to me. Like, she was like, you're so funny. You're so cute. You're like the prettiest girl ever. And I was just like, oh, that's so nice. Because I'm so stupid and gullible. So we talked pretty consistently for like a week, with the exception of like 1 or 2 nights. And then finally, one of us was like, okay, like we should meet up, we should hang out. And she was like, okay, it has to be like this day. I was just like, okay, whatever, you know. Another red flag. But once again, I was like, perfect. So we meet up at a bar and we hit it off. At least I felt like we did pretty quick. And she was just like, oh my god, everything I said. She was like, you are the greatest human to ever exist. You are so pretty, you are so kind, you are everything I want. And I was just like eating it up. Like I was just like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with this girl. Now mind you, when we first started talking, we both were like, we're not looking for like anything, like we're not specifically looking for anything serious, but if something comes from, you know, someone that we meet or whatever, then we're okay with that. And I meant that, but there were a couple times throughout us talking that she would make comments that was like, I don't really want anything serious, like I'm worried you're gonna want something serious. And I was just like, no, like I understand, like if that's not what you're wanting, then you know, whatever. We still ended up hanging out, meeting up, whatever. So we have a couple drinks, and after like a couple hours of hanging out, she's like, oh my god, the time's gone by so fast. I'm like having the greatest time ever. Like I want to keep hanging out. And I was like, oh, like, well, we can go to like a different bar or whatever. And she's like, no, I don't really want to keep drinking, like blah, blah, blah. And so she was like, but I really want to keep hanging out. And I was like, okay, well, like you can come over to my house. And she was like, perfect. We get back to my house and she's pretty forward when we get back to my house about what she's wanting. When she gets, like when she got there, like after we like put on a movie and stuff like that, which whatever, fine. So, you know, one thing led to another. I'm sure you could assume by now what happened. We kind of hooked up a little bit. And then she, right after that, she was like, it's getting really late, like I need to go. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Took her back to her car, whatever. The next day, she texts me, in the morning, mind you, and is like, I had the best time ever, like, when is too soon to see you again? And I was like, oh my god, she wants to see me again. Like, I'm just so naive. So it's a Sunday morning when she sends this. We hung out Saturday night. We end up agreeing to hang out the next day, as in Monday. So this is where things get interesting. She comes over and she's pretty forward again about what exactly like she's wanting, which is fine, but I didn't think that, I guess that's maybe all that she was gonna want coming over that second night, but I was like, whatever. So we end up hooking up again, and she, at the end of it, got really, really weird, like was super like standoffish, and like then verbally was like, just so you know, like I'm feeling very, very anxious right now. And like we had both kind of expressed to each other that like we both had anxiety, so I was trying to be like, understanding, and I was like, it's okay, like if you need to leave, I understand, like I totally understand like what it's like to be anxious in a place that you're like not comfortable in and everything like that. She was like, no, it's fine, I'm having fun, but like I just want to tell you, like, nothing is ever going to come from this, like literally nothing is going to come from this. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. For whatever reason, she was still like freaking out, I guess, maybe that we had hooked up and like that I was gonna maybe be wanting more or something. I don't really know. But I was trying to like make her feel better despite how much she like love bombed me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was genuinely confused, but I was like, whatever. Like, she had told me a few times like she wasn't really wanting anything serious, whatever. So it was at that point that my dumbass thought, like, to make her feel better about like whatever reason she was feeling like that, I was like, look, like, I'm not in any place really to be in a relationship either. Like, I had been honest and open with her about my divorce. The only thing that I wasn't honest with her about was the fact that I was living with my ex, not my ex-wife, an ex from a really long time ago who I'm now friends with, whatever. But I justified me not telling her because I was like, she just told me she wanted casual, so I didn't feel like it was important to tell her. Mind you, any other person that I had talked to on any of the apps, I had been open and honest about, really like early on, about my divorce and my living situation out of respect for other people's boundaries and maybe what they're wanting in life. I didn't want to just like bombard them one day. But because she just kept telling me she didn't really want anything, she wasn't sure what she wanted, blah, 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 I didn't feel like it was necessary to disclose that right at the beginning. So anyways, I was like, hey, don't even worry. Like, I'm literally like divorced, living with my ex. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, you're good. And it was in this point that literally like something completely flipped on her. She was like, are you serious? You're literally living with your ex and like we just hooked up and blah, blah, blah. And your ex is here. And I was like, it's not my ex-wife. And she was like, I don't care. Like, she got very hostile. Like, she wasn't really being like mean or like yelling, but I could tell she was like, she was pissed. And I was like, I'm sorry, like, I just thought like you told me you wanted casual, like I don't, like, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, like, I felt really, really bad. And then she literally looked at me and was like, if you're lying about living with your ex, how do I know that you're not lying about having herpes? I was like, pause, simmered the fuck down. So she was pretty worked up and I was pretty offended. And I was like, look, I don't have herpes and I'm a nurse and I understand how important it is to disclose that type of stuff before you do things with people. But I was like, you know, you told me you didn't really want anything. Like, we had never really talked about our lives much or anything like that. So I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I just didn't think I needed to like disclose that part of my life. Like, I never lied about it. I just never said, hey, I'm living with my ex from high school. Like, that was never said. So yeah, she was pretty upset and ended up leaving, and it was really awkward when she left, but I was just like, whatever. And I was a little upset. Like, I was just embarrassed that she said those things. And, you know, like, just with the divorce and everything, I do carry like a lot of embarrassment and everything that happened and like my living situation. So I was just feeling a type of way about it. She ended up messaging me that night and being like, hey, I know I acted a little immaturely and was like wanting to apologize. And I didn't end up messaging her till the next day, and we kind of talked about things, and she understood that like where I was coming from and like apologized and everything. And I was like saying sorry too and like, you know, whatever. And that was that. That was the end of it. So long story short, stay off the dating apps because most people on there are off their fucking rocker. So
Part 2 of things that my ex did and I still stayed. We had just got back from homecoming and we were standing out in my driveway because I liked to walk him out to his car so then we'd have more time together. I pull away and he's like, I wish we had more time to ourselves, like there's a whole back seat. Oh. Mind you, this is a guy who claims to be very, very Christian like myself and also preaches sometimes at my youth group at the time. We're going to flash back to homecoming. He was just being so extremely rude to me for no like apparent reason. He even was like, I'm just going to play Clash. We're at homecoming. We were on a field trip on the club that we were both in. The entire time he was just watching his ex and would literally follow her in the gas station we went into before we got to the actual like field trip place. We were at Subway again, and as I'm ordering my sandwich, he completely walks off and goes to the bathroom, doesn't say a word. A few minutes later, his ex and her friends walk in. The only reason he talked to his ex was because she was having a hard time, like, with her relationship with God, and he's just helping her strengthen that. I literally found pictures of her and just her bra that were recent while we had been together. My friends had been joking around with him, being like, oh, go dance with Jocelyn, go dance with Jocelyn. Mind you, this is the first time he's ever met them. Rolled his eyes at them and literally completely ignored me for the next 20 minutes. He refused to hold my hand in public, hug me, kiss me, or anything while we were out and about. He also refused to even dance with me at homecoming. He would talk horrible about all of my friends to me, and he kept wanting me to, like, stop being friends with almost all of them. Get ready with me while I talk about things that my ex did, and I still stayed. We were already having problems with his ex because he continued to snap her and all of this stuff after I repeatedly told him, like, please, like, I don't like your friendship with her, like, please just unad her, do whatever. And he was like, oh, I blocked her. We got to a football game, and tell you why, I look on his phone as he's going on it on Snapchat, and she's the #1 top one with a heart next to her name, and they had a 333-day snap streak. He did not block her when he told me he did. I asked him about it. He was like, oh, like, I just feel like I need to help her, all this stuff. She's going through a lot. She's in a relationship as well, and they continuously still try to, like, talk or whatever, and I was like, okay, whatever. I just ignored it. Shouldn't have. He just randomly got so lustful. He invites me to go to the beach, and I was like, I don't know. And a couple days later, I was like, yeah, I'll go, whatever. And he still continuously keeps telling me, oh, we're just friends, we're just friends. There's nothing to worry about, we're just friends. He's hiding his phone. #1, he's never done that before. I was like, okay, this is weird. Why is he doing this? We get to the beach, a couple days go by, he's still hiding his phone, like he will not get on his phone around me, and I just thought that was really weird. We had already been at the beach for a couple days, and I was like, here, let me see your phone, let me see the pictures that you sent my grandma. I get on his phone, and a notification from Snapchat pops up, and the name was Jasmine T, and I had never seen that name before, so I was like, who is this? So I go and I click on the notification on Snapchat, and it's his ex's Bitmoji. Mind you, still a 330-something day snap streak. It's her Bitmoji with her name as Jasmine T, so I would not find it. And immediately after I start trying to, like, go to, like, their saved in chats, he snatches his phone away. I just go sit on the bed, and I'm like, don't even talk to me. And he's like, no, I just blocked her. Like, I understand, like, I blocked her. And I was like, okay, let me see then. Like, let me see your phone. He was like, no. I snatched that phone, and I go into the corner of the room. I go on his blocked. She's not on there. He just changed her name again, so I went and find it. So I tell his cousin that's on the vacation with us, and she's like, what? He asked his ex to go on vacation before he asked me, mind you. He also told her that it doesn't matter who he dates in high school because he's just going to marry her anyway. Mind you, my friend got this from one of his ex's friends, so we know it's a trustworthy source also, and we're like, what the actual heck, like, what? And so me and his cousin decide that we're going to go tell her mom, which is my ex's aunt, about everything that's going on. So we go and, like, I'm telling it to her, and then she goes into, like, the condo, and she starts telling his grandma. When I tell you, his family did not talk to him for, like, a full day. Nobody checked on him. Nobody tried to figure out where he was because he's, like, vanished at this point. And so then we were like, okay, like, whatever. I just ignored it. I was like, whatever. Well, I'm up crying one night. And he comes over and he starts hugging me. And he starts telling me, like, oh, no, like, we're just friends. Like, you got it all wrong, all this stuff.
Story time on how my crazy ex exposed me to my whole family. Okay, so me and this guy, we dated from, like, the end of 8th grade year into, like, the end of freshman year. And our relationship was pretty toxic. Like, we would always be on and off. And yeah. But then Valentine's Day comes up or whatever, and we spend Valentine's together. And then like I think like the next weekend after Valentine's Day, there was this quince of this girl that we both went to middle school with. And I had already planned going to this quince. Like, I was already telling my friends, like, yeah, I'm going. Like, you know, because I wanted to go have fun. And when I go to quinces, like, I'm not the type to dance with guys because I'm really not. I'm the type to lead people, like, because I'm really tall. So I usually don't find people to dance with. So, yeah, I don't dance with guys when I go to quinces. But basically, he got really mad. He was like, no, like, I don't want you going or whatever. Or he didn't say that, but he got really, like, protective about it. Like, I remember that we had each other's Snapchat. And I went in and I saw that he was texting this girl talking about are you going to blank's quince? And the girl was like, no, like, I'm not. And then she was like, why? And then he was like, oh, because I wanted you to take care of Regina. Because, like, you know, I don't want her doing anything bad. And I was like, bro, what is your problem? Like, that was actually weird. So I obviously got mad, but at the end I was like, I'm not going. Like, I'm just not going to go. And I texted my mom. I was like, I'm just not going to go anymore because no. Like, he just ruined the vibe. He just ruined my mood. Like, I just don't want to go anymore. But then he was like, Regina, if you don't go, I'm going to leave you. Like, he got mad because I told him that I wasn't going to go anymore. And then at the end, I ended up going because I was like, oh, heck no. Like, he's not going to ruin my fun. And I had already told my friends that I was going. And one of my friends was like, Regina, the only reason I'm going is because you're going. You better freaking go, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm going. So I went or whatever. And it was so fun. Like, it was actually so fun. I loved it. But then during the quince, like, I get a text and he's like, can you bring me all my stuff tomorrow to school? I mean, on Monday. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, can you just bring me my stuff? Because I had, like, one of his chains and one of his hoodies, I think. And I was like, are you breaking up with me? And he was like, I think it's for the best, my love. When I say I got so mad, I was like, you know what? Whatever. Because honestly, I was so done with him being that toxic. Like, we had talked about it so many times. About him stop being toxic, but no. He was so controlling. Like, he didn't really, like, let me have friends or anything. The only friends I had were gay. And if I had another friend, like, he would get upset about it. But yeah. But, that happens. And then that same night, one of my friend's friends thought I was cute. So I think I added him on Snapchat or something. And yeah. But, like, honestly, it was nothing serious. Like, it was not that deep. But whatever, we go back to school Monday. And that's the day that I'm going to give him his stuff. And we had already, like, talked about, like, talking in person. I don't know why he wanted to talk to me in person, but yeah. And then on my last period, before I was, like, supposed to see him to give him his stuff, he was like, you're talking to somebody else? And I was like, yo, how did you find out? I was like, hello? And yeah, he basically found out or whatever. And he got so mad. He was texting me on my phone. He was like, don't ever talk to me again. I hate you with my whole entire heart. Something like that. And he got really upset about it. He was like, just give me my stuff. I don't even want to talk to you. I was like, okay. So whatever, I give him his stuff. I go home. Everything's fine. But then I remember we used to talk through Google Docs, like, because I get my phone taken up at night because my parents are strict. And I remember, like, at night I got on there just thinking, like, oh, do you think he texted me? So I went on there and he was online, like, he was typing. He was like, Regina, please don't talk to him, like, please. He was begging me, and I was like, oh, heck no. But he was begging me. He was like, Regina, please, like, don't talk to him. Just don't talk to him. And I was like, boy, I was like, I was trying to, like, calm him down. I was like, it's over between us. Like, you broke up with me. Like, stop. But then he gets so mad. He's like, if you don't stop talking to him, I'm going to text your mom. And I'm going to tell her that me and you did stuff together. If you know, you know. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I had already, like, gotten in trouble with my mom for stuff like that. So I know she's going to, like, smite me, basically. So I'm like, bro, are you dead ass? And I didn't believe him. I was like, nah. I was like, nah. But no, he was actually really pissed. So I was like, okay, whatever. And he was like, I was like, okay, I'll stop talking to him. I was like, okay, because he didn't really matter that much to me. But then he was like, okay, give me your Snapchat account. Give me your Snapchat password so I can go in and make sure that you're not talking to him anymore. And I was like, oh, heck no, you're crazy. You're actually insane. Because it was like through our school computer, so I couldn't go on Snapchat and like check what he was actually going to do. So I was like, no, like, I'm not going to give you my Snapchat. You're crazy. I'll do it in the morning and I'll show you that we stopped talking. And he was like, no, because I already know you're going to pull something and I already know you're going to do something, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I ended up getting off. I'm like, I'm not going to deal with this. Because I didn't believe that he was actually going to do it. So I get off of my laptop and I go to sleep. And I'm like, I'm actually like ventilating. I'm like, bro, God help me, please, God. But he texts my mom. And in the morning, my mom, like, is so pissed. She's so mad. And she shows me the message. And basically, he was like, I know your mom. I thought your kid was an angel. But I don't even know what he said. He was just talking about she sent me stuff. And other guys. And me and her did stuff together and stuff like that. And then he also had threatened to like show it to other people, like leak. So I was like, oh heck no, like this guy's actually crazy. I felt so betrayed, like so betrayed, because he used to always tell me like, oh, you can trust me, like blah 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 blah. And I couldn't. I really couldn't. But after that, he ended up telling, like, his whole school that I was literally, like, that I was such a, like, bad person and that I did this and that with other guys. And he basically painted me as the bad guy, which, that's fine. Whatever. But, yeah. But anyways, after that, I got my phone took and I got really grounded. But my mom wasn't going to stay with her freaking arms crossed, so she texted his mom. My mom texted his mom being like, your son threatened my daughter and your son and my daughter did stuff together. And yeah, my mom's a baddie for that. Love her, but that's basically what happened. And then he tried apologizing, like, I don't know when. I think it was during the summer that he tried to apologize. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But I don't really forgive him because I don't. But yeah, that's basically what happened. And yeah. And he still stalks me. I know he does. Because he's a little weirdo. But I forgive him because God told me to forgive and forget. So I did. And I'm doing better. I got my phone back. My mom trusts me now. I'm not lustful no more. So God is good all the time, guys. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Okay, bye.
You guys like stories, so I'm going to tell you a story about the time I believe my friend and I were almost kidnapped. This is something that happened to my friend and I when we were in junior high, and I still remember all of the details to this day because it freaked me out so bad. My friend and I were planning on hanging out after school, but she had a dance audition that would take place after school ended, so she asked if I wanted to stay back at the dance audition with her, and then we would just hang out after. Originally, my friend's mom was just going to pick us up from the school, but she ended up getting off work late, so we had plans to just start walking home, and then if she saw us while she was on her way home from work, she would just pick us up. If not, we would just walk all the way to my friend's house because she didn't live that far from the school, about a 15-minute walk. The audition ended a couple hours after school initially ended, so by the time we began our walk, everybody else that walked home was already home. Her mom drives a white car, and as we were walking, we were paying attention to the cars passing us just in case her mom did happen to see us walking and decided to pick us up on the way. I remember we were joking with each other a lot because we were in junior high and made stupid jokes all the time, and we would just say things like, oh, is that your mom? Oh, is that my mom? Oh, is that your mom? Even when it obviously wasn't her mom. And because we were doing that, it actually benefited us because we were actively paying attention to the cars that were passing us, and at one point this white truck passes us. I remember at that point I said something to my friend along the lines of, well, we know that's not your mom because she obviously doesn't drive a truck, and my friend said something back like, well, and she's not a guy, because it was two guys in the truck. We kept walking, we kept talking, and we kept getting closer to her house. We'd been walking for about 5-10 minutes at this point, and then a white truck passes us again. And my friend said, is that the same white truck that passed us before? And I remember saying, I don't think it was, but possibly, but we kind of just ignored it. But then the truck passes us again, and we thought it was really weird, and this time we knew for sure it was the same truck because it was the same people that were in it before. We started to get a little uncomfortable, but tried to just brush it off by saying things along the lines of, you know, maybe they just got turned around, or maybe they're looking for someone, maybe they're trying to pick someone up just like your mom is. Eventually the truck pulls over in front of a house, and we finally felt a sense of relief because we figured, oh, they probably are looking for that house. But then as they pull over, the guy that is sitting in the driver's seat rolls down his window, and he has a hat on his head, and he takes off his hat and he holds it out the window like this and starts motioning for us to come towards the truck. We were overcome with instant fear. We began walking 10 times faster than we were before, and then we look back, and the guy that was in the passenger seat had gotten out of the truck, slammed the door, and started walking towards us, so we just started running as fast as we could. We had no idea where we were running at this point. We were just running, and eventually we saw this backyard that was pretty open. It wasn't fenced in, and so we ran into the backyard and we just hid. My friend hid in one area in the yard, and then I hid in another area in the yard. From where we were hiding, we could still see the street, but we were hiding behind things so that no one on the street view could see us. And while we were hiding in the yard, probably more terrified than either of us have ever been, both in tears, not knowing what to do, just looking at each other for reassurance, we see the truck drive past the backyard multiple times. It drove once and then turned around and drove again, literally like they were looking for us. Eventually, the woman that lives in the house of the backyard we were hiding in comes out. She either saw us or she heard us crying, but she notices we are in distress and she asks us if we are okay, and we tell her everything that had just happened. At this point, we realized that my friend's house is only around the corner. We were so close to her house, but the lady of this home decided that she was going to walk with us to the house to make sure that we got there safely. Once we arrived back at my friend's house, her mom had just gotten home from work about the same time that we got there, and she can see we were in distress. She asks us what's going on, and then we all obviously decide to call the cops. So a cop comes to the house and he questions everything that had happened, and we tell him everything that we just went through. He took everything down and he told us that he was just going to drive around the neighborhood and see if he could find the truck that we had described, and after about 15-20 minutes he comes back to the house and tells us that he found the truck and he found the guys that were driving the truck. The cop told us that when he talked to the guys that they told him they did see us, but they had only passed us one time and that they were just on their way home. And that was it. Kind of a lame ending because nothing ever came of the situation. To this day, I know that if we would not have kept running, that something bad probably would have happened.
Okay, I'm gonna try to recount the story of how I got kidnapped for wilderness therapy. It's kind of an interesting one. I feel like it's a little bit different than like the people coming into your room in the middle of the night. It happens, that's real. I had a lot of girls that I was there with that actually that happened to, but I wasn't living at home at the time, and so they really couldn't do that to me. So pretty much my mom and I were on pretty good speaking terms. I had not been living at home at that point. I had moved out in May and I got taken in September, so it had been like months at that point. And I was on good terms with my mother, my dad and I. He was pretty abusive, and so that was the reason I had left home. My mom and I were supposed to be eating lunch that morning, and I had been living at my friend's. She knew where I was. His parents were taking me to school every day. I wasn't in a bad situation. And it wasn't anything that like I was doing drugs or I was living in a trap house. I was living with like the sweetest, nicest Hispanic parents, and his mom was the best. And so they were very well taking care of me. The school I had protection from, and the state, and so like I was a minor and I was able to sign myself out of school and stuff. So So basically at this point, I really hadn't lived like at home for a couple months, and I was talking to my mom pretty much daily. We were on really good terms. We were actually supposed to be getting lunch that day to have a conversation about like maybe setting up a time where I could talk to my dad, where I felt like I was like ready to say what I needed to say. And so I got into the car with her. She was supposed to be taking me to a dentist appointment before, and then we were going to get lunch at Panera. And so I get into the car, and she keeps driving further into my friend's neighborhood. Mind you, it's like a dead-end neighborhood. It goes into a traffic circle. And so I'm already a little kind of like on edge. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. And then this car, it's this dark sedan, is like right behind us. They turn their hazards on, and she like looks out her window, and she's like, oh, hold on, like let me pull over for them for a second. And I was like, why are we pulling over for strangers? What's going on? Had no idea, like, at all what was about to happen. These two people come up to the window. It's this huge man and then this really small woman. They come up to the window, and they're wearing these blue polos with, like, nothing on them. And then they have belts, and I don't think I can say that on TikTok. So they knock on my window, and they're like, Miriam Simone Botery. And I am not one to flee. I'm not one to freak out or scream. I knew that I had protection from this school in this state, and I thought that I would have time or some sort of like chance to escape this. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I was totally ambushed. And so they handcuffed and shackled me. They like patted me down, and the man did a body check on me. They took me. I had nothing on me. Like, I literally was just wearing my clothes that I had on that day. I was wearing a black t-shirt and my gray Lululemon leggings. I will never forget that. I had like literally just taken a mirror picture before my mom picked me up, and I was talking about how like long and healthy my hair finally looked. And that I got taken to the desert for 4 months. So it was like I got thrown into the car. I had the handcuffs and shackles on, and I had no idea where I was going. I thought like they were maybe taking me to the police station or something, and that my dad was trying to claim something. He's a little crazy. I knew that I had protection, and so I didn't really think much. I still wasn't freaking out. I was in the car for maybe an hour at that point, and I started to freak out. I didn't know where we were going. We were out of any area that I knew familiar, and I see that we're getting on the highway towards the Detroit Metro Airport. And so I'm asking questions in the car, and transporters don't have to tell you the truth. They can lie to you and pretty much tell you anything so that the transportation process is easier to get the child across the country. And so they're telling me all this bullshit, and I have absolutely no idea what's truth from reality. Pretty much what's explained to me is that I'm going to a therapy place. It's a cabin in the woods, and I'm only going to be there for about 2 weeks, and it's mainly something that I can just kind of step away from the outside society and kind of like readjust. I, at this point, know what's going on. I know that I'm being taken to wilderness therapy. That was all I needed to hear. And at this point, I'm already at the Detroit Metro Airport. So I've got handcuffs and shackles on, and I'm thinking in my head, like, someone is going to see this as some sort of child trafficking situation. I'm a 17-year-old girl with a man and a woman next to me. This doesn't look right. No one bat an eye. Literally, like, not even the airport security. It was like it was normal and natural for this to be happening, and I was perplexed. I thought that somebody would come up to me and ask me if I was okay and if I needed help, and I did not get that at all. So they'd get me on the plane. We go from Michigan, Detroit. We go all the way to Colorado. We're in Denver now, and I have like a 2-hour layover. I'm still thinking maybe somebody's gonna come help me or save me, and this is really naive of me, but I don't know what to do. They have weapons on them, and so I can't run. I'm not even able to go into the bathroom by myself. They're standing in the stall with me. And so I don't know what to do. I have not a singular phone or anyone that I could call. I know my mom's phone number off the top of my head, and my mom was the one who had taken me. And so I don't know what to do. They take me from Denver, Colorado. We land in Utah, and I know that I'm screwed. It is pretty late at night at this point. They had taken me at about 9 in the morning, and at this point, it's probably 12 hours have passed. It's about 9 or 10 p.m. at night. And so instead of taking me to like the base where they do the intake for the kids, we go to the Best Western that's across the street. I am absolutely terrified to spend a night in a hotel with these two strangers. I have absolutely no idea what to do or how to maybe get out. I'm then locked into the hotel room with coffee tables and dressers in front of the door. So I'm locked into my room the entire night. I have access to no bathrooms. In the morning, I took my last shower for 4.5 months, and I had no idea it would be my last shower. I wish I had known. I would have taken maybe an extra 10-15 minutes. I had no idea. They then take you into the car, and they're like, all right, you have 3 food options. I hadn't eaten the entire time that I was with my transporters. I was with them for probably almost 48 hours total. Didn't eat a single thing. I had absolutely no appetite, and I was damn near silent the whole time. Once I kind of knew what was going on, I just shut down and I didn't really speak to anyone. I was terrified. They took me into the intake building, which is in Duchesne, Utah. It's Second Nature was the program that I was sent to. And so they do strip searches here. You have to cough and squat. You have to do all of the above. It is excruciatingly horrible, and I couldn't imagine putting myself through that again, nor can I imagine a 13-year-old girl having to go through that, or 12-year-old boy. I mean, this program, it says on their website that they take kids as young ages 10 to 11. Your 10 to 11-year-old or any teenager who is going through your mental health crisis that you think they are needs you, and they do not need this. I was violated from this moment on, and then every single day, probably 100 times. I spent 4.5 months out there. I was there for 16 weeks. Typically, your average day is 12 weeks. I was there for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve. I came back home on January 4th, and I was taken on September 29th. The things that I saw there were disgusting and horrible, and I could go into a lot of detail about that, but it kind of sends me into a spiral. So I'm trying more to focus just on the general day of how that happened and how I got there. But yeah.
I have a situation and I'm pissed about it, and none of my friends are responding to me, probably because they're sick of hearing me talk about and complain about guys all the time, which is fine. I agree. I'm sick of it too. But how is this guy gonna match with me on a dating app? Granted, I'm gonna preface this by saying he does not live close. It was not gonna work out. He doesn't want kids. All these things, right? So it was not gonna work out, but it was just fun. It was fun. Anyway, this guy, and it only it was only a 5-day thing. But riddle me this, okay? I gave this man my phone number. And instead of texting me, he calls me. So we talk on the phone. The first time I've ever interacted with this guy, we talk on the phone for 30 minutes. And so I'm like, okay, I love that, because I love talking on the phone. I love when somebody and I are just hanging out on the phone, and you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, but we're just together, right? Anyway, and I look like shit right now. I get that. I need to take a shower. I just started drinking coffee. Don't judge me. Anyway. And I look like a founding father right now. I mean, my hair isn't a freaking thing, but what is this? Anyway. So this guy, he calls me, right? And then for the next 3 days, we talk on the phone every night. No, I guess it was only 2 days. There was the one day that was for 30 minutes and we didn't talk. But then the next day we talked for over an hour. Cue to 2 nights ago, we talked for 3 hours. 3 hours on the phone. And it wasn't even just 3 hours. There was one time when he got his food and he had his dog and stuff. And we don't text throughout the day, because this man has already told me, he's okay, so he owns his own business. He's super busy. He's got lots of employees underneath him, whatever. And so I'm that's hot. And then, so the energy he was giving me is I see your messages, and and he was I want you to know I acknowledge them, but I don't have time to respond in the moment. And I don't want to respond in the moment because I don't have time for a full conversation. So I see your messages, but then I want to talk about it later. So I'm okay. So 2 days ago comes around, and obviously I know he's not going to text me, and that's fine. Because unless you, like, give me a different type of energy and I know you're capable of, like, giving me more and then you stop giving me more, I'm, like, totally fine with not talking throughout the day. And then, like, talking on the phone at night, yes, please. Like, I don't really want to talk. I mean, I do, like, if that's the energy you're giving me. But, like, I don't have to talk to somebody all day. I don't care, you know? So, anyway, so, like, 2 days ago, he's not really talking to me. And I'm like, that's fine. And like, I will double text though, and not in like a one after the other. Like, I'll do it like maybe every 4 hours or something. So I did. And then he responded around like 1 o'clock and he was like, hey, I love when you double text. Keep doing it. Like, don't feel bad about double texting. And then he was like, yes, please. I really want to talk on the phone again tonight. So I was like, bet. Okay. And then so we don't talk again for another 4 hours. Again, that's fine. And so then around like 7:45, I text him and I say, hey, I'm going to put my kid to bed now. Like, if you want to talk on the phone, I'll be free in like 30 minutes. Psych, it really takes like an hour because she fights me to the death. And so he was like, yes, I would love to talk on the phone. Okay. So, and then he texts me again because it's been longer because my kid takes forever to go to bed. And then so I'm like, okay. And so I put my kid to bed and then I call him. We stay on the phone for 3 hours. And then there was at one point he was, because he didn't get done with work until like 7:45, 8 o'clock. And so I was like, okay, perfect. So then we talked on the phone for 3 hours. I didn't go to bed until like 11:45. And there was even one point where like he got his food and I was like, hey, I'll just talk to you in the morning. You know, like, I got stuff I got to do. I got to hide this freaking elf, which is another thing. Sorry. I have to hide this elf. I have to do like all this stuff. And he was like, no, can you stay on the phone for a little bit longer? So I was like, okay. So I stayed on the phone for longer. So we stay on the phone for 3 hours, right? I know I've said that a million times, but I'm just trying to like, this man is keeping the conversation going and he's encouraging me to keep talking to him and he's asking me all these questions and he is so funny. I love his laugh. He's got the cutest little laugh. And then when I'm finally like, okay, I have to go to bed because I have to work the next day or whatever. And I was like, but like, I can text you or whatever. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, or double text you. And he was like, yeah, or triple or quadruple, or like send me all the texts you want. Like, I'll send you all the texts and stuff. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. And so, and then he was like, are you sure you have to go to bed? And I'm like, yes, I have to go to bed. So I go to bed. Well, so then I like text him and I text him a picture of the elf and everything. And I'm sorry, this is so long. 5 minutes already? Oh, it's because my friends aren't responding. I mean, I guess it's only been like a couple hours, but still. Go to bed. He's like, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Like, cute. I was in the middle of saying that too. And then we... Then I wake up and I text him and I don't expect a response because we've already gone over this. And then I wait like 3 hours, send him another text. And because he told me, he was like, I love when you text me throughout the day. Like, I love being texted throughout the day. That's fine. So I text him, you know, like little selfies. I like to do little random like face selfies, like from a shitty angle, you know. So I sent him that and I'm like, just spamming you. And then I sent him another one, like another 4 hours later. Again, I still don't care. Because I'm sure he's busy. He's not even home right now. He's in a different part of town, staying in a hotel even, because he says he's got like this huge project that he's working on and he explained it in detail and there's no reason for me to not believe somebody unless they prove otherwise. So, then it gets to be like 6 o'clock. And I'm like, hey. I'm like, hey, have you not talked to me today because I've sent you so many selfies that you think you're like, oh wait, she's like actually kind of ugly? Or like, 2, are you not talking to me because you said some racist shit and I called you out for it? Because Or you're not responding because I called you racist. He never responded. So I've talked to this man in a total of 3 days. I've talked to this man like almost 6 hours on the phone. Like, I don't talk to any, like, and and this man, when we left off the phone, he wanted me to text him, and he was like, I will text you, like, I will talk to you, like, we'll talk tomorrow. Like, we left off. He left off. Telling me he was going to talk to me. And I've been ghosted. Which is fine, because it was only a 3-day thing. Like, I really, like, don't give a shit. It wasn't going to work out, but it literally just blows my mind that guys can be like that. Like, just text me and be like, hey, so I'm racist. You're not. Like, he's racist. I'm not racist. And don't pull that stupid bullshit around me. And, oh, for the love of God. Anyway, he was so cute. He was like a knockoff Harry Styles, if you can imagine that. And Brazilian. Very cute. So, and I'm just venting because guys suck, and I can't believe it's already almost been 10 minutes. Oh, God, I just needed somebody to share my pain. His loss. Okay, bye.
Is he cheating on me? You know what? I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm gonna end up getting mad at him and he did nothing wrong.
If you want to hear the wildest story ever, keep watching. And I don't say this to gain sympathy or anything. It's just literally truly one of those stories that anytime I've ever told someone this, they're like, what in the world? It's one of those, like, it's like something out of a movie. When I was 16 years old, I woke up in the middle of the night to a man and a woman at the foot of my bed. And I have never seen these people before, had no idea who they were. And I'm sitting there like thinking, oh my God, like, is this a dream? Like, am I literally sleeping? But they started talking. They told me that I was being taken somewhere, that I was going to get help. No explanation, didn't tell me where I was going, didn't say anything else, just told me that if I did not comply and I refused, that they would handcuff me. So of course I did. And my sister, my twin sister at the time, actually was also being taken with me. And scary as all this is, like, that gave me somewhat of like a little bit of hope that, like, okay, we're going together. Like, whatever this is, like, at least I have her. We get in the car and we drive to the airport. We go to Chicago and then we fly to Vegas, and we drive hours and hours and hours into the middle of butt crack nowhere, Kanab, Utah. And so I get there, mind you, there's like nothing for miles and miles and miles, and all of a sudden we see this barn in the middle of freaking nowhere. And we get there, we get out, they take our stuff, they tell us to change, and they put us in these like tan shorts and shirt, like hiking clothes. This is summer, by the way. And they give us this huge hiking pack that literally felt like bigger than my body. And mind you, at this time I'm like 100-pound girl, like I'm tiny. They drew our blood, they whatever we needed in the hiking packs, and told us that we're gonna get in the car and they're gonna take us to our spots, whatever that meant. In the car, and it's me and my sister, staff member at the front driving, and then there's another boy in the car too, who I guess was also doing whatever this was. So we drive out into the middle of the desert mountains in Utah, and we drive and we drive and we drive for at least over an hour. And we stop and it's pitch black out, like it's nighttime. And the staff says that my sister, it's time for her to get out. And so I'm freaking out, like, had no idea that we were being separated, clinging to her, crying, literally asking grown adults to please not separate me and my sister. Obviously they still did. So I just see her get out and she goes into the middle of the woods, and I'm like, what the, like, literally what in the world is happening right now? And so we keep driving, and I'm in freaking tears at this point and just so beyond terrified. We drive probably another 30 minutes to an hour to another spot, and they said it's now my turn to get out. And I'm like, my stomach is turning. I want to throw up. I'm like, what is happening? So I get out. I see someone with a flashlight come out of the freaking woods, and I'm like, what is happening? So I follow them because I gotta listen. Like, what else am I supposed to do? Go there, and it's just the staff member and 2 girls in sleeping bags on the ground. Just keep thinking, what in the world? So she said, find a spot. So that's exactly what I did. I am shaking, laying down this sleeping bag on the freaking in the middle of the woods. And I get in it, and I'm just staring up at the sky the entire night, just tears in my eyes, knots in my stomach, terrified, just wondering, just literally no way that this is my life right now. You get the picture. I'm in this place in the middle of the desert. I have literally no idea what's going on. So gist of it, we just pretty much hiked every single day. Blisters on my feet, you're peeing and doing all the things outside. There's no shelter. There's no nothing. You are literally surviving, living outside in the middle of a Utah desert. And I'm in I think June, July, and August is when I was there. I was there for 3 months. There's this little part that I'll tell you about when I was there that still to this day gives me chills, because I truthfully feel like it was God working for me. You're not supposed to see any other groups there. You are not supposed to run into any other teenagers that are at this place. But I'm sure you get where this is going. I did. And along the dirt road, I see a group way ahead of us, and they're sitting probably just taking a break. I saw this girl with long brunette hair in the distance. I'm like, I think that's my sister. So I scream as loud as I can her name, and the girl turns, and I just got chills through my body. I start bawling my eyes out. I drop my pack, and we both literally run, are booking it towards each other. We're crying. She's telling me everything's gonna be fine, even though I don't think either one of us knew that it was gonna be fine. I needed that to help me keep going. And so of course they separated us again. My group, we just kept going on and on. I was there for a couple more months, and we ended up leaving. We go home, and at this point I'm literally terrified for my life. And gosh, what was I, probably sophomore, junior now in high school, and I did not sleep. I would stay awake every single night till the sun came up, so around 4 or 5 a.m. and then I would go to sleep for an hour to 2 hours before I had to get up for school, because I was so terrified of being taken. And during this time, my family said that I had a chemical imbalance in my head, and that if I would go get my blood tested, that they wouldn't send me away, so I'm 16, terrified of needles, no, I don't want to go get my blood tested. So either way, I ended up doing it because I'm well, I don't want to be sent back. I just got to listen to her. So I do it, and literally it was too late. So 2 days later, I was up in the middle of the night, because mind you, I didn't sleep. And I hear my mom get out of bed and go downstairs, and I hear the door open. And I call out to her, and I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm taking Daisy out. And I'm thinking to myself, well, she's a grown dog. She does not go out in the middle of the night. Anymore. And that's when I just started to think oh my gosh. I sit there just my heart is pounding and racing, and I hear steps come up the stairs, and my mom jiggles my door handle, because I always kept it locked, and she said, Matilda, I want to come talk to you. And I'm like, what do you need? And she's like, just let me in. I'm like, okay. So I open the door, and what do you know? There is another man and a woman that I have never seen before walking into my room. I stopped. I had literally no emotion on my face, and I have just soft tears falling out of my eyes, and I look at my mom and I say, how could you? And same thing, if you don't cooperate, we're gonna handcuff you. I remember sprinting into my parents' bathroom, because I knew they were hiding my sister in there, because she was not going with me this time, and I clung to her. We were both crying, didn't understand why this was happening. Same place. This time it was winter though. So same thing, no shelter, nothing, just a sleeping bag. And I was there for a couple more months. After I got out, I thought I was going home. I was not. And before, to paint a picture, if you have seen that new Netflix show called Wayward, not that gory and crazy, if that's a show, it's obviously gonna skew it. But if that helps paint a picture of somewhat of what I was walking into, that is literally best thing that I can compare it to that's out there currently. I'm sent to this treatment center in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was quite possibly the most messed up, weirdest experience of my life. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was, looking back on it, I'm like, what the, like, literally, what the heck? I look back on this and I'm like, literally, where was I? So I get there and they put me in this huge house, like mansion of a house with like 18 beds in it, the house. And we're given like these little like cards, and it's like our behavior cards. Like, my life literally depended on this piece of paper. If I had to write essays at the end of the night, or if I could read a book, depended on this freaking paper. And it had a side for negative points and positive points. And like, I would get positive points for doing something good, or negative points for doing something as they considered bad. So for example, if my sheet was on my bed was not tucked in perfectly, negative points. If my pillow looked a little wrinkly, negative points. If I asked a question and it came across as arguing, negative points. If I accidentally went from the kitchen to the living room without asking, negative points. Like, you literally had to ask to go from the kitchen to the living room, from the downstairs to the upstairs, to your bedroom to the bathroom. You couldn't go to the bathroom without asking. You couldn't take a shower without asking. And you literally could not do anything. It was like you're like in a prison. This thing. So I was there for a year and a half. I ended up getting out. I'm sent to this outpatient program. Weirdest for probably another year. I worked at a bakery in Salt Lake City and was just trying to like apply to college so that I could go home, because at this point I'm like trying to go home. Well, the place that I was going kept saying like, you need to stay here, you need to do this. I'm like, no, like, I need to go home. I ended up going home. I later ended up having my daughter, and yeah, and ever since then, like, it's not something I really tell anybody. It's something that's like I kind of forget about sometimes, because I just kind of put it in the back of my mind. Oh yeah, that like did happen to me. Like, yeah, when I was 16, I got sent to a wilderness program twice in the middle of nowhere, and I went to this weird girls treatment school. Like, and every time I say it, people are like, what in the world? Like, I feel crazy literally saying it, but yeah, that's my life.
Why?
About 2 months before Halloween of 2022, I got back into contact with one of my friends from 4th grade. I remembered him because he always wore earrings. We had started chatting, catching up. It had been like, I was in freshman year. We were both in our freshman year, and we had been, talking, and he was like, asked what I was doing for Halloween. I'm like, I'm not really doing anything. He's like, well, can I come over? Because my neighborhood's not really safe. I was like, yeah, of course, I'll ask my mom. So we went trick-or-treating with my little sister that year. When I sent him my address, like a few days before, he said, thanks for trusting me with your address. I was like, okay. A little weird. He had a black pit bull. This is important. I think, or dark brown, one or the other. We had gone trick-or-treating. I was wearing one of the pink corset tops, because I'm basic. I was dressed as Cupid or something. He was Ghostface, Scream, I don't know. My sister, I don't know what she was. We were walking around trick-or-treating, and we were walking on this golf course, and I mean, like, I was just like wanting to be his friend, nothing more. He had been acting a little weird, and then we hung out one other time, because he was blowing my phone up about hanging out. I was like, okay, one more time, I guess. So we hung out, watched a movie. I fell asleep. Well, I actually pretended to be asleep, because the second time I hung out, he was like, I think I like you, and I was pretending to be asleep because my head was already down and my eyes were closed. So I was like, I pretended to be asleep and not hear it, because I did not like him like that, and I just wanted to be friends. And like a week, he blows up my phone. every single day on Instagram. Deleted message, blows up my phone, deleted message, blows up my phone, deleted message. And at this point, I like told him like I wasn't looking for that like type of thing. Like I just wanted to be friends initially. So I kind of just stopped answering him. Kind of rude of me, ghosting, you know. Like I probably should have answered, but I wasn't feeling it. And then I started talking to somebody freshman year. We ended up dating like over a year and a half, I think, maybe about a year and a half. So I totally stopped talking to this guy. And he just kept messaging me every single day and then deleting the message. I'd see what it said. It was like some stuff about like, well, I need to sneeze. Okay, I just sneezed. I might sneeze again. So, it was just messages about like, why aren't you answering me? Da da da. I was like, I already told you I'm answering you. Like, you're kind of weird. He was being really weird. He was saying like weird stuff. Hold on. Also forgot to mention, I called him AA Battery because he had 2 A's in his name. I'm not gonna name drop though. So that will also be important, kind of. Not really, I don't know. Kind of important. So like obviously I stopped talking to him because I was seeing this guy, and then his mom and the guy I was talking to got a really weird message, and I didn't even know like how or why. And like then I was like, oh my gosh, that's definitely Aaron. Like we hung out for Halloween, and he's been obsessed with me, but I didn't think he would do this. It's crazy. So he was like threatening his mom. His dad, the guy I was seeing, we weren't talking to, we weren't dating yet at this point. His dad's a police officer. So that was helpful, I guess, in like getting this whole thing wrapped up. But so he was like threatening him and his mom, threatening to come to his house. They have a canine dog at their house, so that's good. That was helpful. Like they didn't really care. It's a teenage boy threatening them, like whatever. And then I got a message and it was like also threatening me. I was like, what the hell? So that happened. And then on my Send It, I like posted one as a trap because I had been added by a Chloe D, which I was suspecting like, oh, is this that guy, AA Battery? And you know, it was like I like set it up as a trap, and then I got a Send It that was my address, and then also said I just sent 50 pizzas to your house, LMAO. Also, he like put on Instagram notes leaving me unrestricted, you weird AMF whatever, and I was like, I don't have you on. That's when I finally replied to him, I don't have you unrestricted. This was all in the same night. I don't have you unrestricted. I just didn't want to talk to you, and I'm not on Instagram much anyways. So Instagram, holy pronunciation. So that happened, and then like he threatened to like assault, not like hurt us, hurt the guy I was talking to, and his family hurt me. I was like, okay, this is getting out of hand. Then I got sent my address. They said I ordered 50 pizzas to your house. 50 pizzas were delivered to my house, and they wanted money. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't order these. Like, sorry, I got a text. Somebody was mad at me doing this, like, get back at me. So, like, and I felt really bad because the delivery driver was so upset. I'm like, I'm sorry. Is there any way you could track the call though, so I could find out who it is? And he's like, it was a Google number or something. I was like, okay. But yeah, so I felt really bad about that. And then I set up the Send It trap for Chloe D because I was suspicious. And then I paid $30 to reveal who sent the Send It. It was Chloe D, lo and behold. So I was like really suspicious, like this has got to be AA Battery. And so like I started texting Chloe D because she was texting me, and I thought it was a girl. And I was like, hey, did you do this? She's like, no, that's so weird. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know, it's probably just glitching. I was like, okay, well, Send It isn't very, very reliable anyway. So I believed her, or him. And then I started saying like, oh, well, it's just because this guy that I like hung out with on Halloween is being really weird. And I was like trying to bait him into admitting it was him running the Chloe D account, pretending to be a woman, a girl, my friend, by like saying stuff to like make him mad, but he didn't. And so I was friends with this girl for months. After I had blocked him and everything, I was friends with this girl, snapping her consistently, and then one day I received a snap of a black or dark brown pit bull, and I was like, looks familiar. So the guy that I was talking to was now my boyfriend, and I had him add her, and we had figured out it was AA battery, and I was really scared initially when he had like threatened to come hurt us. I was walking outside with a knife to take the trash up. Like, I had this huge knife, walking outside with it to take the trash up and get mail. I was so scared because he is kind of crazy. So yeah, and then to this day I still get like comments, cryptic ass comments on my posts on my personal accounts. Like, I posted something to the, like, a hair reveal when I got my hair bleached to the song Runaway, like, by Kanye West, and it was like, the lyrics were like, I forgot, hold on. The lyrics were like, never was much of a romantic, I can never take the intimacy, and I know I did damage. It was like that. And he commented like, I knew you were evil or something. I was like, what? And I'm pretty sure this is him, it's not confirmed, but he has 0 followers. All the reposts were like, literally seemed targeted at me. So I was like, huh. I was the only like person his account was interacting with, as far as I know. And then he also commented, is your favorite song still Sweater Weather, on a different video, I think on a different account of mine too. I was like, I said, I don't think it ever was. I mean, it was, but I was lying, you know. Yeah. And also, I was friends with this Chloe D for months, and I really considered her like one of my close friends. It was really upsetting to find out that it was just like my stalker, this creepy guy that had been her the whole time, posing as her the whole time. I was so upset, and I felt so stupid. Like, how did I not realize this sooner? Like, there were so many red flags, and I was just so stupid to not see that. So it was actually really upsetting, kind of traumatic. Like, I always, like, anytime like someone adds me, I always think like that, like if that's a girl and has no bitmoji and da-da-da, I'm like, is this da-da-da AA battery coming back to haunt me? Also, the reason why I think that account is him also is because I called him AA battery and his username was like AA something on that account. It had like a profile picture of like a sky, like a dark gloomy sky or something. Yeah, so that's that. It was honestly a really traumatic experience, and I like, the comments have been recent too. Like, just out of nowhere, after a few months, he'll comment on a new post, a new one. Like, why are you keeping tabs on me? This is scary. So I don't know. And this has been since like 2022. It's now 2026. It's been going on for like 4 years. So a little less than 4 years, because it's near the end of 2022, like October-ish.